In a previous video, we were looking at curve sketching and graphing and looking at the impact that the second derivative has on our understanding of the concavity of a function. We looked at stationary points of inflection and points of inflection. So we're going to do a couple of examples of applying that knowledge of mathematics to some problems. So the first example to the one on the left, and we've got describe the shape of a curve at the point where x equals 2 and x equals -2. So when we're asked to describe the shape of a curve at those points, we're looking for determine whether they're concave up or concave down. And so in our previous examples, we looked at situations like this. Okay, so we can remind ourselves that if we decide that the second derivative is greater than 0 at that point, then that's concave up. And if the second derivative is less than 0, then it's concave down. So let's have a look at the first one. So the first thing we need to do, quite obviously, is actually find the second derivative. So the first function is x cubed minus 3x squared. So quickly find the first derivative, and then we find the second derivative. Okay, and then for A part 1, we're looking for what's going on at x cubed, so at the point x equals 2. So at the point x equals 2, d squared y dx squared is going to be equal to 6 lots of 2 subtract 2, which is quite obviously greater than 0. And if we remind ourselves that if the second derivative is greater than 0, i.e. it's positive, then we are concave up. Very quickly and easily. Number 2, we're looking at x equals -2. So again, the second derivative at that point is 6 lots of -2 subtract 2. But obviously negative, less than 0, so we'd call that concave down. So that's how we would describe those two, the shape at those points. And question B, determine the coordinates of the point of inflection. So we're not looking for the horizontal point of inflection, we're looking for the point of inflection. So the point of inflection occurs where the second derivative equals 0. Okay, that's the first condition. And if you remember the second condition, and concavity changes either side. Okay, so we do what we call the second derivative test. So first of all, let's find that point. So we're going to say that 0 is equal to 6x minus 6. And quite obviously, we can rearrange that and we get x equals 1. All right, so we can sort out. So if we know the first x equals 1, then we're going to check its concavity. So we set up a table exactly like we did when we did the first derivative test. We know that point 1, we know that's equal to 0. So we pick a point either side. So we'll go 0 and we'll go 2. Okay, we should be fine with those 2 points. And we're going to check the sign at those points. Well, what's the sign of our derivative? 6 times 0 minus 6 is less than 0. So we have a concave up. Okay, so we've got concave down, my apologies, less than 0. Okay, and then we've got 6 times 2 minus 6. Well, we already know that's positive. So that's greater than 0, I should put. Okay, so we've got a change in concavity. That's all we need to worry about. It changes, so therefore, oh, and one more thing, we haven't actually found our y value. So we go back to our original function. So it's going to be 1 cubed minus 3 lots of 1 squared, which is equal to, so 1 minus 3 is -2. Okay, so therefore the point 1, -2 is the point of inflection. Okay, so that's our first example. So let's have a look at our second example. Get this thing to scroll. All right, so here's the second function. Consider the function f of x equals 12x squared minus x cubed. So if we were going to do that, determine where the function is concave up. Okay, so again, for this particular problem, I'll do it. We've got the function is equal to 12x squared, 12x squared. Careful with transposition. Why is x cubed? So first of all, if we're talking about concavity, we need the second derivative. First of all, let's do that. So that's going to be 24x minus 3x squared. And then the second derivative is going to be 24 minus 6x. Okay. So, pardon me. So first of all, part one, we want concave up. Concave up occurs when the second derivative is greater than 0. Okay, concave up if you want, that's a maximum. Okay, concave up. So we're going to go 24 minus 6x. It's got to be greater than 0, so we're going to solve for x. So we've got negative 6x is less than negative 24. And so using our mathematics, x is going to be greater than 4. Just a reminder for those who are still a little bit unfamiliar with inequalities, the only time you swap the inequality is when you divide by a negative. And we divided both sides by negative 6, so we swap the inequality. So therefore the function is concave up for x less than negative 4. Okay, part 2. So the next part I think was concave down, yes it is. So concave down, in other words, that is when the second derivative is less than 0. So again, we solve less than 0, so exactly the same process. So again, whoops, x greater, we swap signs because we divided by negative. It's the only time that happens. So it's concave up for x is greater than 4. Concave down, I should say. So I concave up for x less than 4 and concave down for x greater than 4. And the second question is, hence state the coordinates of the point of inflection. Well, that one's pretty easy because if concavity changes at 4, then the point of inflection is at 4. And we can solve by simply solving 24 minus 6x and get 4. So we know that x equals 4. That's a point of inflection. Okay. And so we substitute into our function, we get, where's my original? So that's 12 lots of 4 squared minus 4 cubed. Okay, and we can just quickly get that and we get 128. So the point of inflection is at 4, 128. Okay, so there's our two examples. Hopefully you had a chance to work through those yourself first before checking out this video. There is a second example here, which is this one. Use a graphics calculator, find the approximate coordinates for the stationary points and points of inflection on the graph of the function. So in order to solve that, we need to actually use our graphics calculator. Bring that into the field. Okay, and first of all, let's go into our graph menu. And we're going to put that function in. So first of all, we're going to set up our view window. So we're in trig. I'm in degrees there, so I need to fix that. So shift setup. Oh, hang on, get out there first. Shift setup. Scroll down and put it in radians. This radians. Exit. So shift view window. You'll notice that the domain in this particular case is 0 to 2 pi. Pardon me. So let's find that. So first of all, we're going to go, so our minimum is 0, our maximum is 2 pi. And I'll put a scale of, let's say pi on 4, don't really matter. Okay. I don't know what my function is. It's going to be quite large. So let's just go from -5 to 5 just to see. And the scale's fine. So we exit and draw it. And let's say, oh, no item is selected. Why is that? Ah, I haven't put the function in yet. That'd be a bit silly. So So Shift E, Grav X, Sine X, execute. Let's try now. Oh, a bit too small. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out. But I'm not going to zoom because I want to keep that scale as it is. So I'm going to go here to -10, 10. Let's change that to, whoops, oh, that's fine. And exit and draw. That's a little better. Okay, so we've got our function. So what we're going to do now is use the capabilities of the calculator to determine the points. So if you remember the question, we want the coordinates for the stationary points and points of inflection. The stationary points are pretty simple. All right, so we're going to find, so we go G-solve F5, and we're going to find our maximum. There's the first one. Pardon me. So it's going to drop off the screen in a moment. So we've got a maximum. Whoopsie. So we have a maximum. Back, so 2.36 and 7.46. 2.36 and 7.46. Okay, so there's my maximum. All right, so what's my next point that I want to find? Does it have any minimum? So we'll come back in. So we'll just go G-solve. First of all, whoops, what I should do is just go across and see if there are any more. Doesn't appear to be in that domain. Okay, so let's try our minimum. Oh, there is a minimum. It's a long way down, but the calculator is still able to calculate it. So we have a minimum. So it's at 5.49, so 5.50. And our Y value is 172.64. Okay, stationary points and the point of inflection. So here's what we need to be able to do. Pardon me. So first of all, let's find our derivative. So we're going to exit out of here. And we're going to go Option, Calculus. Let's do the first derivative anyway. First derivative, Y1. You'll notice the variables have come up on the screen there. So there it is there, Y1. Okay. It does want a point. So let's see what we can find. So we want to know the derivative at 2.36. Let's just have a look. Execute. Let's see what that does. Let's draw it. And that tells me the gradient is a 0. So let's exit out of that. That's not exactly what I want. What that has shown me is that when I do draw it, I can see that the gradient is equal to 0 because that's what the graph gives me. So if I come back out of that and I edit it, come across, and instead of putting 2.36, I just put X, execute, and I can draw that. I can see where my stationary points are, but I can also see where my point of inflection is. Okay, and my point of inflection, can you see it, is here. Okay, so that's my point of inflection right there. Okay, there may be another one, and I may need to zoom out. Zoom auto, let's see what it does. Oh yeah, there we go. Can't really see this one in here anymore. So we want the point of intersection. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come back out and we're going to do Option, Calculus, second derivative of Y1. So again, Y1, excuse me, X equals X. Execute, and we'll draw that baby. Okay, and we know that there are points of inflection. If you remember from the previous video, the points of inflection occur at the roots of the second derivative. So what we're going to do is we're going to G-solve, and we're going to find the roots. We've got to tell it which one. We don't want that one. We don't want that one. So I'm just arrowing down until I get to my second derivative function, which is the yellow one, and hit execute. Okay, and that tells me the first one. So the point of inflection is at 1.57. So, the points of inflection. So 1.57. I'm going to find the Y value in a minute, but I'll do that in a sec. I'll show you how to do that in the calculator. And then if we just arrow across to find the other one, it's over here. It takes its time, there it is, 4.71. And then what we need to do is we need to go back to our original function. So we're going to go gsolve and go F6, and then I want to do a Y calculation. That's my original function. It's got the blue one highlighted up the top. So 1.57, it's just an approximation. Oh yeah, got to hit execute, sorry. Execute. 1.57, execute. And it tells me it's 4.81. Just a couple of decimal places, it's fine. And then the second one, again, gsolve, F6, it's a Y calculation. I want the blue one, so hit execute. What's my X value? 4.71, execute. Negative 111 point, I can't read that. My eyes are very terrible. I can't read it. 111 point, something 06, I think. Sorry, that was me getting really close. Negative 100, let's assume it was. If it's not, then just check your calculator. My eyes aren't that good, so I can't really see it. Hopefully that's the right value, but you get the idea. And we can see that that's the point of inflection. And that's using my calculator to get that information. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to screenshot that now. And I'm going to copy that and paste that into the solution, just so I've got a value there that I can show you what that looks like. Okay, so that's how we can graph, and I might do the same thing here. I might just copy that as well, just so we've got a solution there. Okay, so that's how we can solve those problems using our calculator.